Well, thank you very much. I'd like you to welcome first the timekeeper and the referee, Matt Stevenson and Ted Tate. And now we come to the players, and first the man who made his debut on the world stage last year, and he reached the semi-final place at the very first time of asking. Now, one of the top players in the world, he is strongly fancied by many to take the biggest title in pool. Ladies and gentlemen, he had a great quarter-final win that was really special. Can I ask you to welcome from Sheffield, the Blade himself, Terry Hunt. And Terry's opponent, one of the game's great characters, and currently tops the world team averages. And this flamboyant Irish captain is the player's tip for the title. Runner-up in the recent prestigious European Championship. He gave us a grandstand finish in his last match. Can I ask you to welcome, please, from Ireland, Tony the Basher Holgate.
Yes, and again, welcome back to Manchester, where global interest in 8-ball pool is focused firmly with Sky Sports' ongoing coverage of these 1996 Embassy World Pool Championships. It's the Blade versus the Basher. Terry Hunt from Sheffield versus Tony Holgate from Ireland. Not the ideal start for Terry Hunt.
Open table.
Cue ball finding its way to the corner pocket. So a good opening this for Tony Holgate. And didn't he provide us with some color in his quarterfinal match against Mark Goodwin? He's got a lot of flair and flamboyance. And there's no hesitation in displaying it. A very colorful performer is Holgate.
Red ball's in play.
And he's opted for the reds here. And he's certainly going to have his hands full with Terry Hunt. Terry Hunt himself, a semi-finalist in this event last year. So this year he wants to go one better, get through this semi-final clash with Holgate, and concentrate on the final. But right now it's the man at the table in control. And the reds nicely placed, save for that one just wedged in between the yellow balls there. I'll just let you know which one I'm talking about. That's probably the most awkward of the reds on the table. He's a dynamic potter, and he can manufacture winning positions from ones that appear hopeless, and that really is his strength. Now then, red to the top right. And how is he going to get the cue ball back over to the other side of the table for the black? Looks as though he's going to be looking at a double. So two very low percentage shots coming up for Tony Holgate.
Close to play.
Well, he's looking a little mystified at that. It's certainly at his mercy if he gets another opportunity. And it's all about experience out there. I can tell you that I've got a lot of experience sat beside me in the commentary booth in the person of the Australian captain Mick Delahunty. And Mick, this is really going to be a tough one to call with Terry Hunt and Tony Holgate. And even though Tony's just got the one red on the table, Terry Hunt with many more options.
It's certainly looking that way, Jim.
Yes, total.
I did expect Terry to have a go at those, to tell you the truth, but he's played a very good shot. Snookered Tony, and just looking to get 2 shots if he can, I think. This should be a great match, in fact. 2 great players.
Well, 2 visits.
Well, I think Tony wanted that a little closer to the red. He didn't want to leave Terry Hunt the opportunity to try and develop it. But he's given the 2 visits away. That's what happens when a foul is committed. The incoming player has the luxury of having a miss in hand. Wow. A useful fluke.
Certainly a little bit of luck by Terry, but I must admit I was a bit surprised that he didn't try to finish the game the shot before. He played the snooker when he had all his balls on, and of course then the basher just put his ball up near the red to make him waste one anyway. He still ended up in the same position, but had to get a bad ball out. So, but he's been lucky enough to fluke the ball, which now gives him 2 visits with everything out. So you'd expect Terry to finish here.
Second visit.
Wouldn't minded that yellow to have dropped, but you can see all 5 yellows in the center of the table, all in very potable positions. The only hurdle that he may have to get over could be that awkward black. But he's in command at this point. It's a best of 19 semifinal. First player to get to 10 will book a place into the final, and with it a date with Ireland's Greg Farron. He was the winner of our first semi-final.
As you've said, Jim, he's cleaned up all the yellows, but he's still got to pop this black. You expect him to get it, but they're certainly missable shots.
And at this early stage, where the nerves haven't really settled, no doubt whatsoever, the blade from Sheffield, Terry Hunt, opens accounts here in the semi-final. He leads Tony Holgate from Ireland by 1 frame to 0. Good opening frame from Terry. It's always important to try and establish your game, but this black wasn't easy, even though he knocked it in like it was over the pocket. He's got to be very happy with himself.
Second frame. Tony to break, trailing by 1 frame to 0. Come on, Tony.
He broke off very well in his quarterfinal encounter against Mark Goodwin. And just look at that, 3 balls into pockets. 2 reds and a yellow. But look at where the cue ball has finished. A little bit unlucky.
Certainly, Jim, a little bit unlucky, but they're the risks you take when you bash the hell out of them like that.
Red ball's in play.
Sometimes they come up rosy, but this time he has been a little bit stiff, that's for sure.
30 seconds remaining.
Yellows to play.
So even though Tony got 3 balls off the break, Mick, is it an open table?
No, he's nominated reds, which he'd already potted off the break. Because he'd potted a ball on a fair shot, which was the break, that means the moment he nominates those balls, he is on them. So
And the opponent then has to play the yellows.
Most certainly.
20
And
seconds remaining.
if he'd nominated yellows, he would have been on those also, because he had potted one off the break. Terry's just caught the centre pocket with that yellow, trying to pot it down to the bottom corner, and giving Tony half a chance here, Jim.
Well, this Embassy Whirlpool Championship is in its 4th year and growing in stature by leaps and bounds. It's the most important on the annual pool calendar without a doubt. And this is the best run that Tony Holgate has enjoyed in the 4th year.
He certainly seems a lot more focused this year, Jim, than I've seen him. I've been here the last 3 years for this, and Tony's a very nice person, but a bit of a clown at times. Likes to play up and, well, a socialite you might call him, but he seems to have settled down a little bit this year. He's certainly very, very, very focused. I've never seen him so focused. He really wants this.
Well, the pots are just a little wayward at the moment, and he's going to have to get that sorted out.
I talked about being focused. Sometimes you can be too focused. It makes your adrenaline pump a little bit too much, and certainly I think Tony will get better and better as this match gets going. But Terry's such a great player, very steady. He doesn't miss much, so he wouldn't want to give him a head start.
Well, I hate to bring up any bad memories, but Terry Hunt accounted for you, Mr. Delahunty, in the quarterfinals, so probably no one better to commentate on his performance than yourself.
Yeah, Terry played pretty well in our match. I think probably the difference in pressurised matches and standard of play between, say, in Australia and England, maybe it was the difference in the end. I was pretty happy with the way I played, but I just missed a couple of crucial shots at vital stages, and that's experience and handling of pressure, and certainly Terry seems to be fantastic under that situation, so that's a great shot. I'm the yellow in the middle. I was trying to work out how he was going to get down to those, so he certainly knew better than I did, I think.
Well, right now, as Terry Hunt looks, he's got to screw back the white back into this area. Just wants to screw back into the area. Do you leave the yellow to the corner pocket that he's nearest? And that looks ideal.
You expect Terry to go out here, but he's just left a little bit awkward where you really have to punch it to get back on the black in the same hole. He's played it very well. Great shot, in fact. Nice, easy finish on the black.
Good confident start from Terry Hunt. He's taken advantage of the mistakes that have been presented him, and he leads Tony Holgate from Ireland by 2 frames to 0. Just the sort of start that he would have liked. Tony knows He's had chances. He missed this red. I'm certain that's one he'd like to have over again. The other two remaining reds would have been at his mercy. But what could have been?
Thank you. Third frame, Terry to break, leading by 2 frames to 0.
So Terry Hunt breaking off here, the comfort of a 2-frame cushion. We saw him vary his breaks against you, Mick. He altered the speed, and that's 2 breaks for him, and twice the cue ball has gone into the pockets.
Well, 1 visit, open table.
Yeah, Jim, it was a bit different out there breaking. I tried to vary mine a little bit as well, because the table's just a little bit slower than I think most of the players were expecting. And the balls weren't going in as easily or off the break as often as we thought. So I know I slowed mine down and tried different things to try and get a ball in off the break, and really was only successful in about when I was 8-6 down. So it was the 15th frame before I actually got one that opened the pack up properly, and by that stage it was just a little bit too late. Terry did break pretty well against me, but even he had, he didn't get a ball in consistently. But he has been a bit unlucky in the first 2 breaks here. He's got balls both times and gone in off both times. So.
Right now, Tony Holgate has an angle on this red to be able to try and come off the cushion or screw straight in to develop that red. That's the objective. And now, this frame looking to be at his mercy.
And he's just so quick when he's going, Jim. We were just talking about the break and the frame's already over. Well, hopefully for Tony's sake it is anyway.
An important one for him too, Mick. Trailing 2-0. Couldn't afford to go 3-0 down. And this is a big shot on this black. And much needed by Tony Holgate. A look of determination as he strides back to the seat. He's pulled one back. He still trails Terry Hunt from England by 2 frames to 1.
Fourth frame, Tony to break, trailing 2 frames to 1.
It's just been a little bit unlucky more than anything else. Maybe the luck's turned the other way.
Good powerful break. But that might well work in Terry Hunt's favor now. You need to get a ball off the break to be able to have your choice of colors. It is so important, the break in 8-ball pool.
Certainly with players of this standard, the break can tell a match. Really, I mean, one guy gets the break, gets a ball in off the break most times, he gets to the table, and the other guy doesn't. Can just mean the difference between winning and losing.
Seconds remaining.
Red ball's in play.
It's just gone a little bit too far there. I'm sure he would have liked to have been on the red that's closest to the black spot on a snooker table, because it will be a little bit awkward to get back to. It doesn't go into the right-hand corner pocket. The yellow, I think, is blocking it in there. So.
So right now, as Terry Hunt surveys the situation, he just wants to get it clear in his mind. He wants to see the pattern of how he wants to remove these reds.
30 seconds remaining.
As you were saying, Mick, the most awkward of the remaining 4 reds is this one here, because it only really passes into this bottom corner on the left. So that's the problem he's got to deal with. Right now, if he drops his red into the left center, looks to be able to virtually stop the cue ball to leave an angle on the red into the opposite middle. Well, how costly is that miss going to be?
Very, very surprising miss from Terry. He's such a good, steady player. You don't expect that sort of thing from him. The centre pockets on these tables are a little different at times. They're certainly different from a snooker table. There's a little bit of wood in the top of them, and certainly on the tables we play on back home, that ball would go in. The rubber extends to the whole way to the corner of the pocket.
There you get a closer look. Difficult to tell, but you can see how sharply they're cut. And if you do just catch that far bump, they do tend to spit out.
Most certainly. And like I said, where I'm from, it's completely opposite. A natural thing for us is to play wide, and the ball will go in to the centre pocket, whereas in England, tables are made where you must play to the first jaw rather than the second. Well, I suppose you should always be hitting to the centre of the pocket rather than the jaws anyway. But, yeah, certainly Terry there just caught that far top and caused himself a lot of strife, didn't he? Very similar to Mark Goodwin in his quarter-final match against Tony when he missed a vital shot in the centre pocket. Same side.
Well, right now, Tony Holgate's got to pull out a good pot if he wants to continue. The yellow he's eyeing up to the top right.
30 seconds remaining.
Stutter step before dropping. Oh, and a real sigh of relief from Tony Holgate there.
Great shot from Tony up the top. Now made it 3, well, relatively easy yellows. Just got to play reasonable position on each one, and he should finish this frame.
Now yellow into the opposite middle. And just trickle down to leave himself on the black. Looks easy from up here.
Like we were saying last time, we never miss from up here.
Well, he was slow out of the gate, but he's picked up the pace now. It's 2 frames apiece. Tony Holgate from Ireland versus Terry Hunt from England. Now, when Terry Hunt had his chance and he looked to be going 3-1 in front, this bad miss took him away from the table. And that's one he'd like to have had played again. But by the same token, take nothing away from Tony Holgate. He had to come up with a good pot here. And one that I'm sure for a fleeting second he didn't know whether it was going to drop. And he smiled there almost as if he knew we were replaying that shot, and he enjoyed it the second time as well, Mick.
Yeah, I think he probably was remembering it. Certainly gave me a fright as it was going in the hole.
Thank you. 5th frame, Terry to break. Frame score 2-all.
It's a race to 10.
And a vital break, this one for Terry. Needs to get a ball and a bit of confidence on the break here.
Open table.
Well, right now the break is deserting him.
Yellow ball's in play.
Tony just tried to clear that one yellow. It was the only yellow on the table that wasn't easy, and he knocked it open, but the red came back and sat on it again, so he's still got some work to do here.
Well, not even with the talent of a Tony Holgate can I see him getting out from this position. Just too tall an order.
He's given himself an angle on this yellow in the centre to try and knock it out again, but once again, he has to have a little bit of luck because he's got no other balls to pot that are going to be easy after this if he doesn't get on that yellow. So, has to have a bit of luck here, Jim.
And the one thing that I have learned from watching these top players is they want to attack the difficult balls as soon as possible. And a good indication that that was firmly implanted in Tony Holgate's mind. Tremendous cue power. He got that white to dance.
Now he has to play a very, very good shot to do something with this yellow, though. As I said, he had to have a little bit of luck. I think all the top players would like to have another ball somewhere over a hole to, when they're trying to knock something out, they can use that as a fallback if they don't get on the one they knock out.
Reds to play.
Reds in for Terry Hunt. Now Terry Hunt with the easy red to the bottom left, but he wants to leave an angle on this red right here to be able to dislodge the two down at the bottom. He wants to come down at this angle to try and hit him. Let's see if he can attain it. That's what he's looking at.
And the beauty for Terry, of course, he doesn't have to have as much luck as Tony needed because he's got the red already down on the bottom. The odds are his white will stay on when he dislodges these reds, so...
Well, that's opened the frame up somewhat, but still that one red just above the white. If he can knock that in the top pocket, the hard work will have been done.
Yeah, this is the big shot of the frame, isn't it? Great shot.
Never in doubt. This is a good response, considering the easy ball he missed into the center that cost him the last frame. And this will go a long ways to reestablish a little of the confidence that he may have lost from that miss.
I think this is the difference at this level, Jim. Like I said, where I'm from, we play a lot of tournament play, but certainly because it's such a vast country in Australia, we don't get the level of competition all the time against the top players. We're just playing our local players more often than not. And if you have a bad shot like Terry's played, if you play a bad shot like Terry played in the last frame, sometimes for the less experienced player, you find it very hard to pull yourself back together. But when you get the constant match practice that a player of Terry's class is able to have, just very good at forgetting about it and coming back. And that's a fantastic response.
Yes, a surgical clearance from Terry Hunt. Controlled the cue ball perfectly, made the difficult balls when he had to. And that's the reason that he now leads Tony Holgate 3 frames to 2. But this red had all the pressure of a frame winner or a frame loser.
Thank you. 7th frame. Terry to break. Leading by 4 frames to 2.
Again, just resetting himself. He needs a lot of cue power here. Just look at him wind it up.
Red ball potted.
Even though he's gotten a red off the break, I think the yellows, as we look, might be more favorable. Mind you, there's not much in it. Over on the right-hand side of the table as we look, both red and yellow difficultly placed.
Yellow's nominated.
That's them.
30 seconds.
An interesting choice. There's a couple of average yellow ones, I think. The one up the top left is behind the red ball also, so it's got a bit of work to do.
Yellow ball's in play.
Played a good shot straight off, tried to get on that yellow into the centre pocket. And as we've seen already, he's capable of going game from anywhere, so we'll be looking to pot this, get onto the yellow into the corner pocket and knock the red and the yellow, the bad yellow out that you were talking about a minute ago, Jim. Just gone a little bit far with the white. Have to look at another way around trying to get that yellow out.
He's still got his choice of yellows to the bottom left. Now a very brave man could take this yellow on to the bottom left, and the natural angle would take the cue ball in this direction, but as I said,
30 seconds.
That would be a very brave man. You and I both kind of nodded our head, Mick, when we looked at that, but that would have taken some pot, and he might have been advised to take the chance.
Well, he's certainly, I think, made it just about impossible to go game now. He's put the black on top of another yellow, so he's got a couple of bad ones now. Just covered a hole, which is the right choice.
Rest to play.
Have to slow yourself down when you see things go a little bit awkward, and you really, doesn't matter how good you are, you can't go game from impossible situations, and he's played the right shot there. Left it very awkward for Tony. Tony's going to do a bit of covering up himself, I think, Jim. Just cut this red across and try and cover the hole over here. Pretty good shot.
Terry the Blade Hunt accounted for Keith Brewer in the earlier rounds, and Keith Brewer, the UK #1. That a further testament to the ability that the man from Sheffield possesses.
30 seconds remaining.
See Terry here's trying to get move the black ball towards his yellow over the corner pocket. Really put some pressure on Tony. Played a pretty good shot. Once again, it's very hard. I mentioned this a couple of frames ago. Very hard to go game with the black covered with an opponent's ball.
It's a big bag, that, isn't it?
I think Tony was playing to miss there. Quite surprised when it went in, Jim.
Not often you're surprised by the size of pockets on a billiard table, but in that instance, I think that you're absolutely right, Mick. Tony didn't intend the pot there.
Trying to knock this bad red out. Oh, it's a great shot. Great shot. Well, will he take the red over the hole and try and go out here, Jim? I think he will. Back onto the one in the middle. Oh, he's played it beautifully. Fantastic shot. And give himself the angle on this last red into the corner just to stun back for the black in the same hole.
That's what he's got to make sure of. He's got to leave himself an angle on that red.
Must be above the red by the looks of it.
He's just got to come into this area here to leave an angle on that red to be able to take the cue ball back down into this area. Let's see if he can achieve it.
Oh, it's a great shot.
And now a soft screw over to the same side of the black.
Just doesn't have to make certain he doesn't overhit it and pop the yellow in the corner, that's all. Might go into the side cushion, I think. No. Ooh, it's a great shot. I thought he might have taken the cautious way and stunned it to the side cushion and back across, but no, he couldn't have played it much better, could he, Jim?
Frame ball. It's there. Tony Holgate refusing to lay down. He's keeping Terry Hunt firmly in his sights. He pulls one back, trailing 4 frames to 3 in the second semifinal.
You're watching.
And welcome back to the 1996 Embassy World Pool Championships.
Open tables.
Certainly, as I said earlier, the table just seems to be a little slow off the cushions, and the balls quite often, I've never seen guys of this standard miss so often off the break. Normally 2 or 3 balls go in every time they break, but just a little bit slower than normal. Still a great table to play on. I'm not trying to knock it, it's just the power doesn't seem to go as well.
Well, there's a man that can tell you what this table plays like. That's Greg Farron, and he's the most interested spectator in the crowd. He's going to be playing the winner here in the final. I wonder if he's got any preference, a countryman or a competitor from England.
Well, I'm sure he'd love to play a countryman, seeing that this is a world championship, but I know he's had trouble with Tony in the past. Tony seems to be his nemesis in a few situations. They played recently, and Tony beat him 7-2, I think, the last time they met.
Well, I like the way he sits up away from everybody. Just another face in the crowd.
30 seconds remaining.
I liked his comment when he was asked who he'd like to play. He said he'd like to ban both of them. I think that's probably a good idea. They're great players, aren't they?
Meanwhile, back on the table, Terry Hunt goes about his business. Now, if this one awkward yellow passes to the bottom right past the black, if it does, and if he can get it, it certainly opens the frame up.
He's certainly having a go at it, Jim. Just what he does with the white. He's just trying to hold the white to the side cushion and keep on the bottom red. Yellow, sorry. It's a great shot.
We saw Tony Holgate produce a dynamite clearance in the preceding frame. Is Terry Hunt going to return the favor here?
Just taking the yellow into the middle and stunning back into this red neck.
20 seconds remaining.
Oh, and he's missed.
Reds to play.
I think that was a frame ball, and it had all the pressure of the frame ball. And that's the first real sign of nerves that we've seen from Terry Hunt. Tony Holgate having a quick look at those 2 reds near the top right. You can see they're just offset a little, but they may be close enough where the plant can be made. A lot of times balls can be pushed over when they're touching. Those look like they might have a little space in between them, so the shot possibly not on. But certainly they pass to the top left as we look.
Difficult shot this. Has to really punch that white to hold it, to stay on the other red. Otherwise the white will just go above it towards the yellow and make the next one even more difficult. So
it's all about position here. The shot twofold. The pot not easy, and the position equally difficult.
30 seconds remaining.
as I said, it just was a little bit awkward. I thought he might have just played even a little bit slower and tried to hit the other red fraction as well, but certainly made this difficult. Looks very, very close to in off in the centre pocket, or maybe a little bit wide, but the white's certainly coming the wrong way if he does pot it. Very difficult. Has got another option, may just play off it and try and get the white back in behind the two reds, which probably is the right option at this stage. No need to take a risk. You're 4-3 down.
If he can take the white, as you suggest, into this area, it would cover the yellow over the bottom left. Just about like that. Good call, Mick. That's what you're here for.
Yeah, well, I'm feeling the pressure a little bit myself. It was certainly it was a hard shot, the one to try and pot it, and a little bit risky at 4-3 down. Giving Terry a chance, though. I mean, Terry probably thought he was out of this frame, so he's got a double in the middle if he wants to take it on. If he gets it, you'd expect him to go game.
30 seconds remaining.
No, he's played the safety. Once again, both these players been pretty cautious at the moment, which is, I suppose that's why they're such great players. They read the game and see what the right options are.
Obviously, Tony Holgate trying to cover that yellow ball. He wanted to block the pocket. I don't think he's achieved that, but having said that, Terry Hunt is a little too straight on the long yellow to be able to get the cue ball back for position and attack that yellow up at the top left.
Don't think he's got much option, though, has he? Really putting it over the hole's no good to him. Tony will just go gamely. He really has to have a go. Like I said, you really couldn't blame him for having a go, because, and looks like he might have got away with it, really. White ball touching the red, maybe, which means you aren't allowed to play directly at it. You must. No, the umpire hasn't caught touching ball.
Well, he might be able to dislodge those other two.
Still has to have a bit of luck here. That luck I talked about didn't go his way, so once again we're looking at a safety, I'd say. Choice of two, just run up and touch the red looking for a snooker, or maybe cut it up over the hole. There's such big holes, you wouldn't want to pot it. He's played the option of putting it over the hole. He's just left a gap. The top yellow goes in there. Sorry, the yellow closest to the white goes in there, but must dislodge the red if he wants to pot the other one. Once again, pretty difficult.
Yeah, I'd rather have him trying this shot than me.
It's really hard thinking shot, this, because you think, well, maybe you try and put the yellow over the hole, but gee, the odds are it's going to drop, and then you leave yourself absolutely nothing on the next one. So he's going to have a go at it, trying to pop the yellow, hit the jaw first, make it come back, hit the red, go in, and open up the pocket for the other yellow.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what he had in his mind. Regardless, he's left Tony Holgate with the opportunity here. The red over the pocket certainly on. And if he takes it, he's got to get position on the last red. It's as simple as that.
30 seconds remaining.
Gee, this has got to be a good shot. I hate to say it, but that's the wrong option. Really, you just got to give yourself a chance. Just come back 5 inches.
That's right. It looked to me like all he had to do was just softly screw the white back. Even if he overscrewed, he could have played the red into the top right corner. And he always had the option of the center pocket, but the way he played it, he really left it to chance. And I hate to second guess a player of Tony Holgate's ability, but I've got to feel he made the wrong choice there.
30 seconds remaining.
We all make them out there at times, but certainly that looked to be the wrong choice, didn't it? And it looks as though he's going to pay for it, Jim. Terry's now just got a straightforward out from here. Well, you'd expect it to be easy for him anyway.
Just wants to try and drop onto the black here as close as possible. And now if he knocks this black in, he'll have made Tony Holgate pay for that error in judgment. Down it goes, and that's just what Terry Hunt has done. He now leads by 2 frames. Terry Hunt 5, Tony Holgate 3.
Thank you. 9th frame, Terry to break, leading by 5 frames to 3.
So the English representative, the lone one left in these 1996 Embassy Whirlpool Championships, will be breaking off here in the 9th frame. He's enjoying a 5-3 lead at the moment. Well, he moved the cue ball over to the side of the table for the break. And he can hardly believe it's found its way into a pocket.
Open table.
Once again, he's potted a ball too, Jim. The 3 times he's been in off, he has potted a ball each time. Did you notice that he hit the second ball? So it's certainly a change of... He didn't hit the front apex of the balls. He decided to hit the second ball, send the white into the side cushion and back into the pack. But he hit a little bit low and missed the pack, and white went straight into the side cushion and into the corner pocket.
Yellow ball's in play.
So with the yellows in play.
Once again, not easy, Jim.
No, but it's a big frame for Tony. He trailed by 2 frames at the outset of the semifinal. He finds himself in the same position right now. And he's got to stay close to Terry if he's to have any chance. And that didn't work out the way he wanted. I think he thought he'd dislodge that awkward yellow nestled just above the red. He was hoping to try and remove this one. And in failing to do so now, he's snookered on everything.
And he's played a fairly unlucky shot. Just tried to clip the yellow near the black and cover the black, but just picked the gap and gone straight and off in the middle. And, well, realistically, he's in a lot of strife now.
It's going to be reds in play for Terry Hunt, and he's got virtually the same sort of problem that Tony Holgate faced. He's got that one awkward red, and at some stage he's got to try and develop it.
Looks like he's going to try and do it straight away. Just follow through this red and try and knock it out. Great shot. See how slow that cushion was, Jimmy. You expected him to go another 6 inches from there. I think he's on that red, but boy, it went awful close to snookering himself behind the yellow. He's obviously on it. Good shot, just made it easy for himself now. Just followed through to the bottom red. I mean, black's a little bit awkward, but with 2 visits to go, you would expect him to clean up.
That's exactly right. Just to remind our viewers, he's still got 2 visits with the foul that Tony Holgate made. So he'll knock this red in. Save his second visit, possibly for the black, if it's needed.
Just made it a little bit awkward. He has to use a little bit of right-hand side here, I think, to go. May choose to screw back to the bottom cushion, side cushion, up the top. It's a little bit of work to do here. He's going to the second option. Little screw back into the side. Back up for the black in the corner. It's a great shot. Great shot.
Didn't need the second visit. It's England's Terry Hunt, the man that many tipped to win this title now, leading Tony Holgate from Ireland by 6 frames to 3. Well, this last red manufactured the win for the frame, and the position was immaculate. Pace judged to perfection. He had the luxury of the second visit, but it was never needed.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. 10th frame, Tony Holgate to break, trailing by 6 frames to 3.
And as Tony Holgate winds it up, a crunching break, 3 balls.
Red and yellow spotted.
2 reds and a yellow. And right now, he faces a 6-3 deficit at the hands of Terry Hunt. And it really has to be said that Terry Hunt is full value for that lead. But having said that, Tony Holgate can take comfort in the fact that his countryman Greg Farron in our first semi-final also
30 seconds remaining.
Trailed Gary Cook by the identical score of 6-3 before starting his comeback when Tony Holgate produced the same sort of form. Yellow ball's in play for Tony. And very nicely spread, Mick. No obvious problems.
Certainly a great break, Jim, and gee, Tony needs this frame, doesn't he? Not going to get a better opportunity than this. Going to play this yellow down the cushion, I think, and get onto the one in the middle of the table into the bottom corner.
No problems. He had a larger pocket with that yellow at the bottom end of the table.
I think the only problem here is the scoreline rather than anything else, Jim. There's added pressure, of course, because he is 6-3 down.
And he's going to need a good positional shot here from the penultimate yellow to the last one. Well, he's taken the more difficult one, Mick.
Makes the black a lot easier, though, if he has happened to get this. He should get it. He's in the centre point. Great shot. You just pot this yellow into the corner and slide up for the black into the pocket. He's just potted the yellow. just a little bit of right-hand side needed, I think, Jim, just to come off the bottom cushion and slide over towards the side cushion to make certain he doesn't snooker himself behind the red.
Has he come far enough? Well, if he has, it's only just.
He's looking at it with concern, but no, he's going down, so it must be on, I think.
A delighted Tony Holgate of breaking out, and he's really trying to spur himself on. You can see him exhorting himself there. Trailing Terry Hunt 6-4, but it was manufactured without doubt right from the break. He crushed those balls, knocked 3 in off the break, and from there springboarded into the victory.
Feel the excitement of the Super League as the London Broncos take on.
Thank you. 11th frame, Terry Hunt to break, leading by 6 frames to 4.
Terry broke using the second red down again, or the second ball down again, Jim. So he's changed his break, obviously not happy with the way it was going to start with. He was hitting the front ball to start with, but it's just changed it. See if it'll change. Actually, didn't think there was that much wrong with his break, except that he seemed to be having a little bit of bad luck going in off. He was getting a ball most times, Jim.
30 seconds remaining.
Yellow ball's in play.
Well, as they sit, the only real awkwardly placed yellow is this one nestled up against the red. He's going to have to develop it at some stage.
Fantastic shot, Jim. Opened up the yellow you were talking about exactly. Now he's a real chance.
You know, Mick, I really wouldn't have advised that shot if for no other reason. Had he not landed on that yellow in particular, he wouldn't have been on another. So he really put all his eggs in one basket, but hasn't it worked out well?
As I said earlier, all the top players like to be moving their bad balls with a little bit of insurance, a ball somewhere else, but he's gone for it, and it's come off. I think probably the first session, or the first 9 frames, those sort of shots didn't come off for him. So certainly if he's any chance in this match, those sort of shots do have to come off for Tony, because he is a risk taker, there's no question of that. But my God, he's a fantastic one when he goes well.
Pure entertainment. When players throw caution to the wind, it's a do-or-die situation.
Once again, Jim, just the white not coming off the cushion as quickly as he would have liked. I'm sure he would have loved to have been on the yellow going into the bottom corner, but now he's going to have to come up the top and somehow get back onto this bottom yellow, so it's a lot more difficult all of a sudden.
The position here, the key. if he can get through to this yellow, he can count himself lucky, because he did not intend the cannon into the black.
I think he's been very lucky, and from the look, the smile on his face is obviously on this yellow, and he's knocked the black into. I was just thinking, even if he does get on the next one, how hard the black was going to be, but he's certainly promoted it to a great spot for himself, hasn't he?
Well, we're going to know whether this yellow's in before him.
Well, as you said, Jim, he's thrown a little bit of caution to the wind here, but it's been a fantastic out. So, and he's right back in this match.
Tony Holgate from Ireland, and a look up into the crowd. He knows, as do we. He's running on pure adrenaline right now. That's 2 on the spin. He trails Terry Hunt by 6 frames to 5. And this tremendous shot where he developed the yellow, that was the winner.
12th frame, Tony Holgate to break, trailing by 6 frames to 5.
Come on, the back.
Yellow
ball down. So it's an open table for Tony.
I think you'll go reds here, Jim.
Red balls are nominated.
There's not a red ball needed to be moved, whereas the yellows, a couple of them have to be moved. So he's chosen reds.
Reds in play.
Probably his most difficult ball's the black. Just tied up a little bit by a couple of yellows. I'm sure he'll find a way around that.
Well, a little noise in the audience just disrupting Tony. Almost sounded like someone fell off their seat. An excited fan, no doubt.
Just caught the other red and made it a little bit more difficult here, Jim. He's got a very fine cut on this red, very hard to... I'm sure he would have loved to have been able to come down for the one on the side cushion here, but all of a sudden it's a little bit more difficult.
He obviously doesn't fancy using the rest. He just tried to poke that one into the pocket. And that's one he might remember. Mind you, having said that, were the cue balls finished, Mick?
May have got a bit lucky, Jim.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
If he's left Terry off this one in the middle, then Terry's got a very hard starter up the top. Well, Terry's looking at it, so it must... a little swerve maybe around this other first yellow. It's a great shot.
Fantastic control. With the smaller white, I can't begin to tell you how difficult those are to judge. Tony Holgate possibly just a little too emotional, a little too hurried. Just needed to keep himself composed and lost it for the moment. And now down to Terry Hunt to punish him for his mental lapse.
Just made this a little bit more difficult there, Jimmy. He didn't quite run. I think he would have loved to have been on the red, sorry, the yellow that he's closest to into the bottom corner. He just didn't run the white well enough, so must pop this one in the middle and go above the other one to get back down on those. Needs a good kiss here, and it's perfect.
Well, obviously, as we look, the most awkward yellow, the one nearest the bottom cushion on our screen. That's this one right here. That'll probably be the one he'll be looking at next.
He's got a nice angle on it too, just to nice coast it in, and white should run up the centre of the table to keep himself right on the next yellow.
Crunch ball for Terry. You know, Mick, it wasn't as easy as it could have been. I didn't know why he played the cue ball so near the side cushion. I thought he'd just drop the yellow in and leave his bridge hand on the bed of the table.
Certainly a similar shot that Tony missed in the second or third frame into the same pocket. Maybe that one's a little bit tighter than the other. Tony's played a great shot there, knocked the bad red out, because that red was going to be difficult. The one thing Terry had done was at least cover the hole where the red was going, but Tony, with his great ability, has pulled the red off the cushion. He's got to play another good shot, get this red past the other one. Looks like it goes, but he's only got half the hole, not the whole thing. Oh, it's a great shot. White up to the top cushion. Now he's just got a little angle to stun the white down onto the black. Beautiful shot. You just roll this in. Even though it depends on his adrenaline. I've seen him crunch these at times, but I'd suggest he should just slow down a little bit here. Take it nice, easy, and find the hole.
Terry's miss and this black.
Well, he took my advice, I think, Jim. If he'd hit it any harder, it would have hit the jaws and come out. But it just the pace kept the ball on line, and in it went.
Without a doubt, in the tradesman's entrance, that black. It hit the cushion a ways up. A good 6-8 inches up.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. 13th frame, Terry Hunt to break with the frame score at 6 frames all.
Well, the comeback is complete. Now he's got to carry the momentum on. 2 reds in for Terry Hunt, and just look at the position of the remaining 5. Couldn't have scripted this one any better.
Well, you'd expect him to go game here, that's for sure. But, hey, you still have to do the work. There's always, as you've said a few times, Jim, it's easy from here.
But it would be a monumental mistake, given the position of the remaining reds, if Terry Hunt didn't clear up from here. The black in the middle of the table, readily available. And lots of interested spectators. There's Lee Kendall and the England team manager, Alan Bartlett, just above him. And there's your man from Australia in the blue jacket there, bearded fellow, Lance Sheen, I believe.
Yes, he's the World 8-Ball Pool Federation president. He's actually no longer on the Australian committee, so although he's an Australian, we can't claim him as anything to do with our pool association now. He's the world president, so.
Bigger and better things. And that's just what Terry Hunt's looking for right now when he gets this black. A tremendous breaking out from the English representative in these world championships, and just look at him. A very rare show of emotion from Terry Hunt. He now leads Tony Holgate by 7 frames to 6.
You're watching Sky Sports.
Frame, Tony Holgate to break, trailing by 7 frames to 6.
Plenty of
Over
power,
table.
but nothing down. Terry's a chance again. Jumped out of his chair.
Well, regardless of what color he chooses, just have a look at the red and the yellow here. They're going to need to be developed regardless.
Thirty seconds remaining.
Red ball's in play.
Might be surprised at that red. He tried to, I think, to leave the white above it, the top side of the table, to give himself an angle to cut that in the middle to knock out those two reds, the two balls you were talking about, Jim. But he's just brought the white back a little bit too far.
And right now, as we look at it, Mick, if Terry was to
30
take
seconds remaining.
the red over the middle, which he's obviously not,
He's gone it off.
he might wish he had, though.
Foul.
I think he was worried about those two balls you were talking about, Jim.
2 visits.
And you know, all of the top players are always looking to get those bad balls out as quickly as possible. And he just played a poor positional shot with his first shot and put himself under pressure and then played a bad one.
Well, the same problem facing Tony Holgate, but with the luxury of 2 visits, given the foul committed by Terry Hunt. And now he's got to dislodge that yellow below the black.
He does also have the luxury of a yellow very close to them.
Has he got the angle on this yellow?
Doesn't look like it, but we're about to find out. He just may have. No. We're all looking for him to try and knock this yellow out, but it's he hasn't done it yet.
A chance to come off the cushion with a little bit of side and into these balls.
Same thing again, as I've said the whole way through this, and you mentioned right at the start, Jim, getting those 2 balls shifted is the key to this game. Tony's got a real problem now because he's also got an average yellow, or one that's very hard to get to on the side cushion because of the red blocking it down to the bottom. So he's got 2 shots, but he's got 2 bad balls.
Well, he was very disgusted, so obviously he tried to dislodge the yellow there because he looked straight to the ceiling after he missed them.
Try and get out here. Giving himself a chance now. Real chance. This yellow looks as though it's on in the middle. So just follow through to the next one in the middle and real chance. Black's gone hard up on the side cushion, which just makes it a little bit easier.
He's got that yellow. And you know the one thing I've noticed, Mick, even though that black is on the left-hand side of the table, the balls seem to hug the cushion better on that side.
Yes, most of the misses have been down the other side, haven't they? And I don't know if the pockets are... I mean, you occasionally get a millimetre difference, and it can make a difference in potting balls down rails and things like that. But you'd expect Tony to get this black if he gets it, if he gets near it.
And certainly Tony's already made a black in this pocket that wobbled before it dropped, so he knows the pocket's generous.
Very much so. I wouldn't expect him to miss this one. I think it'll go right in the middle.
That's it.
No doubt whatsoever. Tony Holgate pulls it back, drawing level yet again. 7 frames apiece. It's a race to 10, and it's really starting to heat up here in Manchester. Have a look at this black again. As I said, they seem to hug the cushion much better on the left-hand side as we look than on the right. But that one was never in doubt. I'm going to ask you to get off the fence here. It's 7 frames apiece. It's now a best of 5. Who's your money on?
Well, it's a really hard call. I think Tony's got the momentum at the moment. Really, the adrenaline is the key. If Tony can keep himself
Red ball potted.
together, then I really think that he can win this match. But, gee, if it becomes a war of nerves, then Terry will win it. So I've said nothing, basically. It's what you call sitting on the fence.
You like them both, then?
Oh, they're great players. There's no question of that. It's, yeah, we've said it how many times you hear it said, somebody's got to lose. That's all there is to it. But
2 seconds remaining.
gee, it's been a great match.
It really has. Well, he made 2 reds off the break.
Open table.
And it's an open table too, Jim. This is important because these 2 bottom reds aren't on. If Tony was on the reds, then he would have been in a bit of strife, I think. But choice of yellows, and they're all there. Once again, it was that pocket, wasn't it? That pocket's caused a few problems in this match.
It certainly has to both players. This is a golden opportunity for Tony Holgate. Never has he seen the front in this match. And just look at Terry Hunt trying to mount all the concentration that he can muster.
Tony just went a little bit far with the white there. I'm sure he was trying to get on the one in the middle, in the yellow in the middle. Yeah, the reason it was an open table, just to the general public, was because they nominated the yellows, and Terry had only potted reds off the break, so he nominated the yellows but failed to pot one, and therefore Tony came in with a choice. Certainly looks like finishing here too.
Well, you know, with the black in the middle of the table, Mick, I don't think Tony Holgate is going to get a better opportunity to see his first lead of the semifinal. He's never been in front. Never has he had his nose just in front of Terry Hunt, but
that's a great shot, giving himself a chance here.
The pressure out there, immense.
Don't think this black's on. He's got to cut it back into the right-hand corner pocket, Jim. And, well, he certainly made it more difficult. He is a great shot maker, and you'd probably still expect him to get very close, but, gee, he's made it difficult for himself, that's for sure. And the white ball as well is doing a bit of travelling, so you never know where that white's going. The black's in.
Oh, what a tremendous black, and he punches the air. Another display of emotion from Tony Holgate. What a fight and what a battle this is turning into. It's the man from Ireland leading 8 frames to 7 for the first time. He's got his nose just out front. What a tremendous black. Certainly worth another look. The cue ball almost came around and knocked it off its path. But look at this. Was he happy to see that one go in?
Thank you. 16th frame.
And Tony Holgate is going to have the luxury of breaking off here. So if he can just knock a ball down and maintain the table, he'll really be in the driver's seat. He's got one. In fact, he's got 2.
Red and yellow balls potted.
Yellows.
Yellow balls in play.
Quickly, he nominates the yellows. But he's got to get a yellow ball here.
That's the red, Tony.
Just look at the Irish crowd here to support Tony Holgate. Fighting hard to join his countryman Greg Farron to make it an all-Ireland affair in this 1996 Embassy Whirlpool Championship.
Obviously, the yellow up nearest to Tony isn't on in the corner pocket. So he's coming down the bottom here. He's going to still have to get back up there at some stage or another. Just on the yellow in the corner, so it's not a bad shot. He's still got a bit of work to do here, but he's such a great player. You'd expect him to finish. He is pumping very hard, Jim. There's no question of that.
He's running on pure adrenaline right now.
He's certainly trying to make it as hard as possible for himself, that's for sure. Nothing's been perfect yet, but this is the line. If he can pot this bottom yellow and come back to where his cue is now, then he's a real chance. Just punch this in, maybe with a little bit of left-hand side, into the bottom cushion, the side cushion, and back out for the yellow. Oh, it's a good shot. Just did it a little bit easier than I thought he was going to.
Got the nice angle. Just wants to drop this in, finish on the yellow to the same pocket. I say just.
Yeah, it's very easy from here, as you've said a few times, but must pot this. Certainly a big favourite if he gets out here. Sent the white a little bit too far. He's now going to have to think about where he's going to go. Just going to hit it skinny, is he, and just try and come back on the black on the same hole, or? Well, he's kissed the black, but it's a reasonable result. It's not a difficult shot into the corner pocket, except for the adrenaline pump that he's got going through his body at this stage.
Well, this black to put him just one frame away. It's there. Tony Holgate continues with his dream run. He's looking for a place in the finals, and he now leads Terry Hunt from England by 9 frames to 7, and he's taken 6 of the last 7 frames. And just look at the intensity in the face of Tony Holgate. It was a good black, but I don't think anyone in the crowd expected him to miss that one. He's such a good potter.
Seventeenth frame, Terry Hunt to break, trailing by 7 frames to 9. Yellow ball potted.
He's got to show some form now. He's really up against it. At one stage, 6-3 in front. He's not only been pegged back, but he now finds himself 2 frames behind at 9-7 in a race to 10. He fell short at this stage last year. A semi-finalist in this event.
It's a great shot from Terry. The only bad yellow. The black looks to be on past the red seed. You'd expect him to clear up here, but once again, the pressure is enormous. He's just checking that black to see if it is on for sure. If it was me, I'd be worrying about the other 5 yellows first. It's an excellent shot. He's given himself option of just about every yellow. Pick the one that's right for this shot.
Well, I think he'd be well advised to remove the yellows at the bottom half of the table first as we look. He feels otherwise. Certainly the one over the middle has to be his last yellow.
He's looking pretty good here, just as long as that black's on. He should just into the side cushion and back up for the yellow in the middle. That's a great shot. And he'll just keep just inside this black a little bit, so he's keeping away from the red ball. He's just having a good look at it, making certain he finds the right spot to make certain the black goes. So taking plenty of time. And he's straight on it. It's a great shot.
Just ensuring to bring the white back into the center of the table far enough to leave himself on the black. There it goes, and Terry Hunt with his back against the wall. He's not through yet. He trails Tony Holgate by 9 frames to 8. And so often we have emphasized the importance of a big break, and it just can't be stressed enough. After Terry Hunt saw a couple balls disappear on his break, it really laid the groundwork for him, and he went on to clinch victory. Position, the name of the game, and he exemplified that with that shot. Sheffield-based Terry Hunt looking to claw his way into the finals. But he's 1 down with 2 to play.
And it's Tony's break. This may be the most important break of the match.
Thank you. 18th frame. Tony Holgate to break, leading by 9 frames to 8.
Ball off the break and a clearance, and Terry doesn't get back to the table. I think Tony knows how important this is.
Yellow ball potted.
Just look at the Irish fans
Yellow ball's nominated and
willing their champion on.
correct. It's not touching the cushion.
There's no intensity there, eh, Mick?
Tony's played a safety shot. Oh, and it's a snooker. It's a great shot. It's Peter Fortune, one of the Irish team members there, really barracking hard. The Dracula's coachman, Thomas. Irish team manager Bernard, there with the moustache, and Vicky, Tony Holgate's girlfriend. Part of the reason why he's playing so well seems to have just settled him down a little bit. Lovely lady too.
Couldn't really have done much better. Still a long yellow on to the top left. But that was really all that Terry Hunt could hope for to make it as difficult as he could.
Fantastic shot, Jim. Giving himself a chance. That could be the winning shot of the match.
Well, it's certainly here for him. All about keeping your nerves in check. Just working out how he wants to go about it. But he really has to be just bubbling inside right now. And will he get to the table again, Terry Hunt?
Sure, he's pretty happy he's going to the left-hand corner rather than the right, Jim. The right's where they've had all their problems. So. Just giving himself a little bit of angle. Still got a bit of work to do here. That's where he'd like to land, right where he is now. Yellow up the top, yellow down to the corner, and black in where his head is.
Can you believe it?
Red balls to play.
Just when we thought it was all over, Jim.
All 7 reds still on the table for Terry Hunt. But you can bet that Tony Holgate didn't want him to have the chance. He's still in a very strong position, though, is Tony.
Looks to me like Terry's going to try and get on this bad red straight away. He tried to use a lot of side and come below the red, but it's just hit it a little hard and the side didn't take. So, as you say, he's now in a very difficult situation. I think he's got to be looking for a snooker somewhere, Jim. Maybe pot the red in the middle, go up the top and snooker behind those 2 reds.
Yes, if he takes this red, brings the cue ball down into this area, he can play a snooker from this red.
That's pretty good, Jim. He just stun off this red in behind the other 2.
Well, he had options there, Mick, but we had the game plan read right. It was just a matter of how he was going to do it.
Certainly a great shot. You wouldn't expect Tony to miss this, though, and really, with this bad red down the side cushion here, all Tony has to do is make certain he hits this. Not only has he hit it, he's just about potted it. Oh, he has. Sneaked himself, though. A little bit unlucky.
Good news, bad news.
Couldn't do it again, could he? Off the side cushion, try and pot it into the same pocket.
Another look. It would have been great had that yellow stayed over the pocket, but with it going in, it's made life a little bit more difficult for Tony Holgate. He may have to swerve around this red. But the referee is having a very good look at whether or not he can get through to it.
Seconds remaining.
Has to be careful here. If you give this too much swerve, it's very easy to follow this yellow in, Jim. Well, he's a chance here. Really, this is on up the top, and Tony's such a great potter, you wouldn't expect him to miss from here.
Well, 2 shots away. He's 9-8 in front. Desperately wants this yellow. And it looks there. Now then, the biggest black of Tony Holgate's life. He's there! Tony Holgate is through to the final. A 9-8 scoreline, and he's taken it to a 10-8 victory, and just look at him. Excitement, well, that personified. He's a winner through to the final, where he'll be facing his countryman, Greg Farron.
So victory for Tony Holgate. He goes through to the final. He now joins me. They don't call you the basher for nothing, do they?
Oh, I don't know about that. Well, I've been in a lot of trouble with both me quarter-final and my semi-final. End of the first session, and both of them I've been 5-3 down, 6-3 down, but I'm having a bit of a run of the balls in the second session at the moment, so I'm over the moon with that.
Well, our commentators have mentioned quite a few times tonight, well, we can't overstress the importance of the break, and that was very apparent in this match tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've been practicing my break a lot, but the table doesn't seem as fast as last year. And I noticed a lot of the players aren't getting a lot of the balls off the break, but fortunately I seem to be having the run of it at the moment.
Right, well, you're up against your fellow Irishman, Greg Farron, in the final. Now, he's known for making some pretty good comebacks, but you've not done so bad yourself. But how do you see that final going?
I think it'll probably be 0-0 after about 3 hours now. I'm joking, Greg. No, I'm just looking forward to playing Greg. He's a great player. He's a good friend of mine. And I'm just looking forward to it. I just can't believe in the final. I'm over the moon.
How difficult is it to play your best friend? I'm sure you won't be falling out of it, whatever the result is.
No, I mean, great friends off the table. When the match comes, I mean, all the pride that's there for the world title, we'll both be focused for it. So I'm just looking forward to it now.
And a quick word about your opponent tonight. Great credit to him because he put up a great battle, didn't he?
Oh, he's a class player, Terry. I mean, he's had the better of me in the past. I just can't believe I beat him after being 6-3 down, honestly. No, he's a brilliant player, Terry, and, like, commiserations to Terry. He's had 2 semi-finals now, not made a final, but unlucky.
Well, we wish you all the very best for the final, Tony. So Tony Holgate against Greg Farron in the final, which you can see on Friday night here on Sky Sports at 10:15. But tomorrow night, we turn our attention to the ladies' final, where you can see Scotland's Sue Thompson go up against the French lady, Rosalia de la Bertie. One not to be missed. Do join us then, but for the time being, it's a very good evening to you.